This podcast is entirely listener supported. To find out how you can help, head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.
First time I've ever seen you wear shorts.
I can't. I hate that you called it out because now people will know that I've worn shorts in my life, and it makes me. It's so hot everywhere. I went to Seattle for PAX and it was hot. I went to the Grand Canyon and it was hot.
Did you wear shorts in those places?
I did not. I wore shorts. I wore shorts walking the Grand Canyon, but driving and like doing everything else, like if we weren't actively outside hiking and stuff, I was wearing jeans.
But you own shorts.
I own 2 pairs of shorts.
So.
One of them is behind glass, and I have to break it with a mallet because it's just too fucking hot. And those are the shorts that I'm wearing today because it's like 100 degrees in Los Angeles, and I can't believe
more than 100.
I just like, man, there's a Kennedy quote, a John F. Kennedy quote about how shorts are for children or men who are on boats, and otherwise it's like, don't wear shorts, asshole. Be a grown up. So that's kind of like I've taken that to heart.
Clearly.
And I just don't wear shorts, and it's just too hot, and I hate that you called it out. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni. That actually fits into what I wanted to bring up with you today. Pessimism, which I know you're a big fan of.
I'm not a fan of. I'm fucking pragmatic.
Uh-huh.
I'm pragmatic. I'm realistic. Though, you know, there are some times when you have to be pessimistic about things.
Well, I think you're
and that's being pragmatic about pessimism.
The fact that you own shorts and hate them is sort of your pragmatic pessimism at work. And this article in The Atlantic is very interesting. It's talking about this concept of defensive pessimism and how it may actually be more effective than thinking positively for people. It'll actually help you in your life to be defensively pessimistic.
Well, before we even get into this article, I can tell you this. Thinking positively all the time is extremely detrimental. It's just as detrimental as being depressed and negative all the time. And I hate the amount of lip service we give to the concept of the power of always being positive.
Yeah.
And
although I know lots of people, I think people think that I'm positive all the time. I'm not. Mm-hmm. But I definitely know people that are much more positive. They don't even allow the concept of them failing to enter into their head.
And it's unrealistic.
It is totally unrealistic, but I sense maybe there's an internal turmoil that I'm not privy to, but I sense that just not even allowing that potential to come into their head.
If they're not completely brain dead or crazy, then there's got to be some sort of internal conflict you're not seeing, because I think most rational adults understand that you can't just be like, it's all gonna be okay all the time.
Well, I don't even think it's such a cheerleader thing.
Yeah.
It's more like if something doesn't work out, just move on. Just move on to the next thing.
Just keep going.
Move on to the thing that has an upside.
But don't tell yourself that it all worked out perfectly all the time, because then you're not learning. So tell me what this defensive pessimism is.
So defensive pessimism, according to this Atlantic article that I was reading, is more about preparing for the absolute worst. It's envisioning the worst case scenario, every iteration of the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Thinking it very clearly, envisioning it with absolute accuracy and a level of vivid realism, seeing those potential terrible outcomes, and then preparing for them.
So it's my head. This guy's in my head.
This is you?
This is me.
To a T?
Oh, God. Yeah, man. So everything, I think I throw people off whenever I work on something with them in the beginning. And you and I did this too when we were deciding what we were going to do with our fucking lives together. I come off, and I always apologize for this, and I think you probably remember me sending you a couple emails where I was like letting you know, because when you bring up a creative project to me, I look at it and I'm like, ding, 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 like Terminator vision, and I'm like, that'll fuck up, that'll go wrong, this is a problem, here's what's wrong with that.
Right.
And I think people think that I'm always trying to tell them that we shouldn't be doing this thing, but what I'm really telling them is like, oh, we should absolutely do this thing, because all of this shit is going to go wrong, but it's worth it.
Right. It's preemptively accounting for the bad stuff happening.
Yes.
But I think that the real distinction that this article makes between this effective form of pessimism, which you seem to thrive on, and sort of crippling, damaging form of pessimism that causes people to just be depressed all the time, is that you channel it, and it has this kind of dispassionate effectiveness in motivating you to plug the holes that aren't even there yet.
Yes. Yeah, and I think, when people have anxiety attacks and people get anxious and everything feels overwhelming, it's just because you don't know enough about the situation, right? And there are two ways that you can get through it. Everybody always tells you to, like, take a deep breath, try to calm down, envision the positive outcome.
Right.
But, like, if you're feeling anxious, it's because you know that you can't just get to the positive outcome. And I think that anxiety is, for a lot of people, obviously there are some people that have specific chemical and mental things that make them a little more anxious than is healthy for them.
Right.
But a normal amount of anxiety in somebody does come fundamentally from the unknown and a genuine distrust that that this situation could possibly work out well. And it usually means you didn't think it through.
Right.
And that's why I always think that when somebody's like a super positive thinker, they must have all this secret anxiety behind the eyes. Because how can you happily live a totally unexamined life all the time?
Well, but maybe that's just because you're only thinking about it from your perspective. Like, is it possible that there is somebody that genuinely...
No, I speak for everyone.
Well... I mean, I often wonder, is that a mask, or is that a genuine disposition that can occur in nature? That someone can literally just choose not even choose. It just happens naturally that they don't consider those awful repercussions.
You get a little bummed out when a lot of negative stuff is pointed out to you.
Yeah, I'll cop to that.
What's it like in Jeff head? If my head is seeing the minefield and trying to, like, Tom Cruise, Catherine Zeta-Jones through the laser field without tripping anything, what is Jeff head?
I do some of that, especially when it comes to projects or getting things done.
I do it when I'm getting the mail. I do it when I'm taking a shower. I do it about brushing my teeth. Am I getting all the teeth? Is this the best way to get all the teeth?
I probably missed a teeth. I'll probably have a tumor.
What if I didn't get this tooth? Then I got to go in and I got to get a fucking root canal 6 months from now and my dental's not good. Thanks, Obama. Like, what am I going to do? Yeah.
No, I mean, I think there's very little difference between that and Boy Scout, always be prepared.
Yeah.
Like, just be prepared. So, but I think what you're talking about is the other side. And what happens in my head is, and I'm totally being honest about this, I am shocked oftentimes when people are revealed to be terrible. I know that's so naive and Pollyanna and ridiculous, but I genuinely, inside my head, I don't get the desire of people to be awful. And I often don't buffer myself or prepare myself for that eventuality because I just don't see it coming.
And I think if I'm being totally honest and it's all masks off here, I don't think people are terrible. I think people are great. I think most people are super, super wonderful. And I think when people are terrible, you're usually seeing them in the situation that trips whatever the least evolved bit of their head personality, whatever is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some people choose to build their lives because they've chosen to build these walls and stay in this one castle in this one tower. You only ever see them as king of tower terrible, right? Like that's where they are like, I am up here in my terrible fucking tower looking down at all of you and profiting.
Right.
But, I find that you're always surprised to find out that those people have a lot of friends and, have families that love them and, have kids or have a dog or volunteer somewhere. And you're always like, that asshole, that fucking asshole. And it's because, unfortunately, you have come in your life to a crossroads where in order to pass, you have to get past their one terrible tower. And so
I think that's a remarkably optimistic way of looking at it. I mean, that's to say that
sometimes there's genocide and those people are fucked up. Don't go too far. Yeah, but let me tell you something, man. You and I in our everyday life driving from here to the coffee shop, we don't run into too many of those people.
But you're saying it's just a remarkable coincidence that I happen to hit a really decent person on a really bad day.
No, I think it's not. I think it is coincidental, and I don't think it's a really bad day. I think this is a part of who they are. But I will say this. Working in creative fields where somebody's face or name is put forward, right? Because a lot of people don't do that. Like, you can be very respected in your industry, but that doesn't mean everybody in the world knows your name. There are a lot of people out there.
It's only at the Cheers bar.
Yeah. There's a lot of people. Every company has their Steve Jobs and Johnny Ive. They're just not as good or as famous or whatever. You know what I mean? Because the technology industry isn't built around celebrity.
Right.
you are an actor. That's what you do every day. So you're running into people that, no matter how evolved they become, got into a thing for a need to be out there and to have people know them and accept them.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Granted.
So we would like to think that as you grow up and get older and work out your shit, people grow to find that they actually love the art and the business of what they're doing.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of people in creative fields are still tied to ego and are very protective of their ego and their sense of self. And so I think when you run into a lot of people in Terrible Tower, it's because, well, this is just a particular field that's full of terrible towers. Maybe, in the next field, there's a lot of fields of sunshine and rainbows, man. Like, I don't know, but there are a lot of terrible towers in this field.
I don't know how I got into the position of arguing the pessimistic side here, but I feel like those terrible towers, it seems to me the internet has presented the view of terrible city that is populated entirely with terrible towers.
That was a series of Richard Scarry books that I read when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Terrible Town.
Yeah, exactly.
And all the little animals would just like steal each other's wallets and fuck each other's wives.
Yeah, it's like,
and little lowly worm was just like, oh gosh, guys, I'm gonna make it today. I'm gonna do real good. And then some fucking cat in a sailor hat would come around and just steal his wallet and beat him up.
Yeah,
it was a great book. It was very well illustrated. I think it got a Caldecott medal.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like there is a pulling back of the sheet, and we're seeing a lot of that terribleness bubble to the surface, and it often takes me aback. I'm not prepared for it, and even when it happens over and over and over again, I still find myself ill-equipped to
yeah. And I think the internet is a different beast, right? And there's a lot of sociological stuff going on with internet and internet communication right now as to like why we talked about this before, why people put forth these caricatures of themselves unknowingly. Right. But yeah, I don't think being surprised when people turn out to be terrible or do terrible things necessarily, it doesn't make you weak that you get bummed about that. Let
me ask you this.
It's not a failing.
Defensive pessimism,
yeah.
Do you feel like it is energy well spent, or do you feel like oftentimes you're preparing for things that don't ever happen?
It's the adapter that you throw out because you think you don't need it anymore.
And then you need it,
and
like a week later.
Yeah. And
I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm for sure that guy.
So, I mean, that's defensive pessimism, right? And I think you're getting to this thing where do you genuinely need that adapter, or are you a hoarder? Right. And and I think that's probably what this article is talking a lot about, is there's a difference between a healthy pessimism, which I would argue that this article is just arguing for logic and pragmatism.
Right.
That's what I think it is. Like, calling it defensive pessimism, I think is just emblematic once again of how much energy we put towards making everything positive and living the fucking secret, when really we're just adults that need to plan more, and we wouldn't be so scared if we would allow ourselves to think of the negative outcomes and plan for them a little bit more.
But you can plan, you can be a positive pragmatist as well. You can plan for things expecting...
Oh, those guys all wind up dead at 30.
It's probably going to be okay, but I'll take the extra set of batteries just in case. I don't think that's the same as, you know what? This is going to be a nightmare. And I'm the only one who is seeing how horrible this is all going to turn out.
Tim.
What?
You're turning 7. The party's going to be fine.
No, you don't understand. The birthday cake, I don't know. How can I blow out 7 whole candles? I've only ever blown out 6 in my life.
If you don't, it doesn't matter if you don't blow out all 7, buddy. You can take 2 breaths.
But doesn't an extra candle mean that I have a girlfriend? I don't know what that's like. Girls are beyond me. I'm 7.
We don't need to worry so much about the candles, okay? Like, let's just talk this through. What, besides the candles, like, is there anything bugging you? Look, we got hats, we got balloons, we got
the balloons, I'm sure that one of them is going to pop, and it'll pop in a moment when I'm not expecting it, and it'll scare me, and I might poop my pants. And I just got to the point where I feel comfortable not pooping my pants. I mean, pooping my pants was great while it lasted, but now I've progressed, and I don't want to poop them anymore.
No, and you don't have to, and I don't think you will.
But that sound is jarring, and if there's enough balloons, one of them's going to pop. That is just the law of averages.
Okay, should we get rid of the balloons?
Yeah, I think we should get rid of all the balloons, and or have some sort of recorded announcement preparing people for loud, jarring noises.
Okay, so, but you already made me put a disclaimer out front.
Yeah, for the pony, mostly for the pony.
Mostly for the pony, but also for the clown. Also that the cake was made in a factory that has nuts.
It is, and I don't know. Clyde, my little buddy, he broke out when he got stung by a bee. Who knows what else he's allergic to?
Well, that's true, but we probably didn't need to put on the sign that there are bees in the world and we should be careful. Like, that's not really a disclaimer that's
maybe
germane to this event.
If we had known about the bees, people would be stung a lot less. I just think that maybe we should prepare for the worst.
Let's just take this down a notch. Do you want to open this present from your grandmother?
I'm worried about paper cuts.
So, I mean, like, that's not defensive pessimism. That's apparently you as a 7-year-old Woody Allen. I think there's a difference, and I think I take umbrage. With the
your umbrage has been noted, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I bite my thumb at this Atlantic article.
Bite your thumb at me, sir.
Not at you, sir, but I do bite my thumb, sir. I have some problems with the Atlantic calling this defensive pessimism when I really do believe that it's just planning. Like, there's nothing wrong with admitting that there are 5 ways for a project to fail if there are 5 ways for a fucking project to fail.
Right.
The thing is, you just don't need to bum yourself out with the fact that there are 5 ways for the project to fail. You need to think about creative projects. You need to think about decisions in your life like you are taking them to some guy in a suit at a bank and saying, here's this decision. Can I have money? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to the happiness bank and you're saying to this dude behind the counter, you're like, listen, man, here's the deal. I want to go camping next weekend with me.
Sure.
Me and my boys want to go camping. So
sounds like a great time. With
thank
the family.
you. Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
And I know you asked me to like plan it out. So I made a list of things, and it's tent and food.
10 food.
Yeah.
And you want to withdraw how much happiness?
I want it to be like a real sick weekend for me and my bros.
Yeah.
So like a sick weekend level of happiness.
Well, we'd love, listen, nothing would make us happier than to give you all the happiness that you'd like. However, looking over this paperwork, it seems to me you're going to need a heck of a lot more than just a tent and some food.
Dude, it's all going to be fine, man. Like, we're just going to bring some food of some kind.
What
like,
kind of food exactly?
You know, we haven't nailed it down. I think Jim's like super allergic to a bunch of stuff, so we probably won't bring that. I don't know. Like, maybe
sounds like potential for unhappiness.
Or like maybe we'll just bring it and he won't eat it. I don't know.
Well, then won't Jim be pretty hungry during this? It doesn't seem like you've really put your papers all in order.
You're bumming me out, Happiness Bank. I don't need your fucking rules. I just want to be happy.
You should probably read the sign. We'll make you unhappy before we give you happiness.
Ugh, that's it. Fuck you. I don't even need your happiness. I'm going to make my own happiness. I'm going to the woods.
Well, good luck.
Jim? Jim, buddy, how you feeling, man?
Well, I'm pretty swollen up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty swollen.
I didn't know that if you make something in the same factory that they have nuts, and it doesn't have nuts in it, like it's still a nut problem.
No, it's a big nut problem.
Okay. And I would...
My face.
Yeah, your face looks real bad, dude. And I would let you...
My poor face.
You should probably rest in the tent, but like, there's already a dude in there.
Oh, God.
And it's a real small tent.
Oh, unfortunately, and that man is in there. It's Mr. Peanut.
I forgot to tell you that I knew Mr. Peanut, and it didn't occur to me. Like, I should have just said,
I'm so allergic to him.
A dude that I know is literally a giant peanut with a monocle who's going to hate the outdoors so much that he's going to hide in the tent all weekend and not come out. And it's a one-person tent. You know what?
I'm so allergic.
I really should have thought of this. Happiness Bank. If only I thought of it. Could you chaps keep it down out there? I'm trying to polish my monocle. Fuck you, Mr. Peanut! Fuck you, man! Yes, you do need to plan, but that's not, like, going to the Happiness Bank and seeing that guy and having him be like, dude, have you thought about this camping trip? Doesn't ruin the spontaneity and the wonder and the joy of the fucking camping trip. Just know that, like, man, maybe we want to bring, like, that solar-powered flashlight, too.
Neither of us is arguing against preparedness.
It sounds like you're arguing against me.
I'm not. Well, I'm arguing against you. I'm just not arguing against preparedness. It's about be prepared because that's a smart thing to do, or be prepared because things are likely to go terribly wrong.
That is the same fucking sentence.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't know. I think better
Why
safe.
else would you prepare? Be prepared because it's a good thing to do. Why? If everything's going to turn out fine whether you prepare or not. No, you prepare because shit can go wrong and you got to be prepared.
Better safe than sorry, not better safe because we're going to be sorry.
That's the same shit.
It's different.
It's the same shit.
That's the pessimism part.
I just feel like it's fine that I've stockpiled 30 years of food in my fucking
yeah,
and it's not all and it's all
tinfoil hat
perishable.
looks fantastic.
Thank you. And you know what? I only made one, so you don't get to borrow it when they start reading our thoughts tomorrow because you think there's a problem with how pessimistic I am, and there isn't because I'm not pessimistic. I'm pragmatic, and the Atlantic is using the wrong fucking word. How do you guys feel about this? Probably team me.
I'm pretty sure it's Team Me. You can worry about them being Team Me.
Depending on which one you have, let us know on Twitter by just hashtagging Team Me. And that way we can tell who's on whose
both
team.
Feel good.
Yeah. I'm at A Carboni.
And I'm at Jeff Canada.
And by the way, if you've seen a great story like this and you think we should cover it on the show, let us know. We have concernshow@gmail.com. A lot of people send us things over Twitter, which is rad. We love talking to you over Twitter, but what happens is we tend to lose those.
Yeah.
And they wind up not getting used, or we wind up using them and forgetting that you suggested them because we find them ourselves 3 days later and just send it to the email.
Or become a patron
Whoa!
at Patreon, and then you can send it to us. We'll definitely see it there. Patreon.com/wehaveconcern.
We're just saying that there's a way to be prepared to send us a story.
Just prepare yourself.
Just defensive
Things are
pessimists.
probably going to be good.
Or bad if you don't prepare.